So this is video 24F on Greta Thunberg, okay? And I'm happy enough with the last video that I got the point across, and I just want to continue with what I intended to do and show you some of the other things. But you see there where this guy that's telling us what to do has access to the United Nations, so has Greta Thunberg. I don't, and several others don't. And we'll just look at some of the other things just to bring to your attention what's going on. So here is this guy. His name is Roger Hallam, H-A-L-L-U-M, Hallam, and it describes him here as a failed farmer. So I'll just read about him. The most prominent and radical of the XR, that's Extinction Rebellion leaders, is failed organic farmer. So this fella tried the organic farming and it didn't work. And PhD student. Note he's a student, not a graduate. After years in a succession of left-wing groups, the 52-year-old says the name of the game for XR is to bring down all the regimes of the world and replace them. Hallam above says paralysing traffic will eventually cause food shortages and trigger uprisings. In a recent interview, he said Extinction Rebellion protests should be ready to cause disruption through personal sacrifices if necessary. They should be willing to die. So where did we hear that before? Now this is the type of lad that's leading these people. So I'll stop now for a moment. Now here's a little piece on Greta Thunberg, and it says that Thunberg, who has Asperger's syndrome, was named one of Time magazine's most influential teens in 2018. And in the 1930s, about 1939 or thereabouts, the same magazine named Adolf Hitler the Person of the Year. And no doubt she'll be due a Nobel Peace Prize. And her ancestor, that man I mentioned to you, who claimed America would run out of oil in 1953, I think he got a Nobel Peace Prize, and he was on the committee. Of course, that didn't matter. It's nice to have somebody on the inside, but I can't go into that right now. Here we have an article from the Washington Post say that the United Nations appeals for $22 billion in 2017 for humanitarian funds, highest request ever. But it has no money, and it's looking for money of taxpayers. And it's not only for humanitarian funds, it's looking for money, and like all these groups, they want us taxpayers to be forced to pay for it. Now here is a communication letter to Dublin chemical engineer Pat Swords, and his qualification is BEC-ENG, FI-Chem-E, C-E-A-V, M-E-M-I-E-M-A, and he's from Glengarry in County Dublin. And this man was so upset at the National Renewable Energy Action Plan by the Irish government, brought out on foot of the EU directive on renewable energy, because it wasn't assessed under the Aarhus Convention or under Article 3.2 of the SEA directive. And I don't think you can see it here. You can get it up yourself if you Google it. But I'll just show you. This is what's on it here. You can see it there, and there's the United Nations logo. Now, it's not easy for me to get that for you here. But the point being here is that that's going back to about 2011. And the reference number is Ref ACCC/C/201054. REF A and 3 C's /C/2010/54. Now, He has been pursuing this, and he's got several declarations from the Aarhus Convention Compliance Committee. That's an official body set up to police the Aarhus Convention, and they have held Ireland to be in breach of the Aarhus Convention in relation to its renewable energy policy, and therefore denying the right of the public to participate when all options are open, and to have regard taken for their submissions. So that's why we can't get the wind farms or the pylons or anything else, electric cars, data centres or anything else. We cannot get them assessed because they refuse to do it. Our government refuses to do it. So the United Nations have faced down their own climate change, their own compliance committee. It's known as UNESCO, United Nations Economic Convention, United Nations Economic Committee for Europe. And they've faced them down and they refuse to do it. Now, why was Gretta not highlighting that? Why is there nothing in the media about that, in our Irish media or anything else? It's completely secluded because it doesn't suit the left-wing narrative. So we'll see something else now. Now, this is an association which I am the Irish spokesperson for. It's the European Platform Against Wind Farms, and I ask you to check it out. There it's there, you'll know it, the European Platforms Against Wind Farms, and we're associated with the American similar platform over there. So here it is: Swedish citizen complains to the UN, and in a case reminiscent to that of Pat Swords against the Irish government, a Swedish citizen, Bern Stumer, S-T-U-M-E-R, has lodged a complaint with the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, UNESCO. This organisation, based in Geneva, watches over the application of the Aarhus Convention through its Aarhus Compliance Committee. Aarhus Convention Compliance Committee. Sweden is a signatory to the convention, and its government should make sure that the projects that will affect the environment are communicated to the public in a fair and transparent manner, while all options are still open. But as Mr. Stumer observed about the 2 wind turbines near Stangrass, the Swedish public was not informed about their planning process, let alone invited to participate. Therefore, the Swedish authorities failed to comply with Articles 4 and 5 of the Convention. So it's now been dealt with. But I can tell you before we start, we know from experience that it'll get nowhere. The United Nations will face it down. They'll face down our rights. And I'd like to know why Greta Thunberg didn't ask the United Nations Climate Change Convention or Summit, why they didn't ask them about that. So it's all one way. It's all a whole communist, globalist plot. It's there in all the writings of everyone, what they want done. They want our rights to elect our own governments removed and a global government installed to do their bidding. Now, if I might trouble you again, just to listen to her again.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Now, have you heard that? Now we look at the other side of this stolen the dreams and stolen the childhood and the effect on climate on children of this craze. You can check out the Cobalt Industries website, the Cobalt Institute, and you'll soon see here that it's essential for renewable energy. There it's there, renewable energy there on it, okay? So now here's a heading from the Mail Online. Child minders aged 4 living in hell on earth so you can drive an electric car. Awful human cost of squalid Congo cobalt mine that Michael Gove didn't consider in his clean energy crusade. Right, that's about an English politician. Well, let's look at some of it. Here's a poor child. 8-year-old Dawson is pictured cowering beneath the raised hand of an overseer who warns him not to spill a rock. They're going to hit him, right? An 8-year-old child producing her bloody cobalt and her rare earths. Here is young children working in Congo mines in horrific conditions. How can anyone not see the sheer injustice of this? Look at them. I feel terrible when I wake up in the morning. Everything hurts. When I'm working here, I'm suffering. My mother, she's already dead. And I have to work all day. My head hurts me. Now, I just pause that. No, I won't have to pause it. I get thick. Look at this poor child. He then staggers beneath the weight of a heavy sack that he must carry to unload 60 feet away in pouring rain. Huh? Now, Gretta, let me hear you on that. Look at these two wee lads. Dawson and 11-year-old Richard are pictured here. Their mother's dead. Dawson lives with his father in the bush, and the two have to work daily in the cobalt mine to earn money for food. And just think of what the waste on this climate baloney and renewable energy, all illegal, could have done to help people like that if it was really diverted to the way I'd like it to do. Okay, I'll stop that now for a minute and stop. I'm sorry for getting high on this. I think the hypocrisy of this, and I'm just begging people to point out this hypocrisy. Here's a picture of miners. They're not necessarily children, they're labourers working to take the rare earths out of China. Look at the conditions they're working in, those people in China. This is to go into electric cars and wind energy and all the rare earths, and they're being mined at an unbelievable rate. If they were being mined at a normal rate, we wouldn't have to be so much hardship. Okay, so I'll pause again. Now, I don't mean to make fun of the farmer, but here is what one fella might have said when he was being criticised by Gretta. Sorry, I have it now. I'm so sorry. Now, folks, sorry about the remote giving a double pause sometimes.